Hey guys, Chris and Joe here with the Good Old Gamer, and today we have got a few things to talk about. First and foremost, came out today that Nvidia has settled the lawsuit over the GTX 970 and the false advertisement regarding how much VRAM it actually had in terms of 4 gigabytes, but it was actually 3.5 gigabytes and then 500 megabytes of a different speed of RAM, so a little bit of a trickery there. And that's what we're going to start out with. So let's talk about this. I don't know if you saw the websites today, Chris, but that's one kind of the big thing going around, where essentially Nvidia has agreed to pay $30 to anybody who purchased a GTX 970 as a way of repaying them for the false advertising. Now I know you had a GTX 970, and I still have my GTX 970, and to me, it's kind of nice. Don't get me wrong; I could use $30, but it's also not really a big deal to me. I don't know what you think. I figured I'd ask you first.
Well, I actually didn't even hear about this. You text me while I was at work, and I was just like, okay, I mean, that's kind of cool. I actually bought a GTX 970 a while ago, and I could probably dig up a receipt on that. And then I sold it, money got a little tight. And then I bought another one. So I'll get $60, I guess. I don't know. Uh, but I really just don't understand how. I guess they settled, you said? This didn't actually go to court, right?
No, it says it's settled. I don't know that it went to court, but it does appear that they have agreed whether it was settled through court or not. But settled usually means outside of court. So
Yeah. So I mean, I kind of understand why they don't want to make like a bigger thing out of it than it really needs to be. But technically, the thing shipped with 4 gigabytes of RAM. I mean, if they wanted to take it to the court, they probably would have won. So I mean, I think it's just kind of nice that everybody who purchased one of these, and if you did feel slighted by this, well, at least you're gonna get. I mean, $30 is about 10% of what most people paid for these. I think most people paid about 330 dollars somewhere in that range. So, I mean, that's a sizable chunk. That's a decent discount. Um, I wouldn't be too surprised if this is going to come into like some sort of like, hey, well, if you want $50, and you can use it towards a new Nvidia graphics card, and they'll probably switch it around into something to their benefit, which would be smart for them. Give you more money, but you can take it off the founders editions that they sell from Nvidia.com, which is just an extra 50 or $100 anyway. So to them, it's really not going to be a loss. But I don't know. I'm just making that up as a marketing thing. If I was Nvidia, I would do something like that because it's smart, because they'll generate more sales out of this. And I wouldn't be too surprised if we see something like that.
yeah, I mean, I could totally see something like that happen. But I guess overall, I'm just not concerned. I mean, I've had the GTX 970 now for a while, over a year, and it's worked very well for me. I've never felt as though I missed out on performance. Although I am a little irked by the fact that, if not false advertising, they at least did not clearly identify that it wasn't 4 gigabytes of the exact same type of memory. I feel like that's something that should have been advertised. And I think, had they advertised it properly with that, I doubt it would have caused too much of a problem for them. So I'm more just kind of confused why they did it. Overall, though, I really don't care. I mean, I will be getting my $30, don't get me wrong, but I don't see this as a big issue, although I could understand why other people might, because nobody likes to be deceived. And that's what we talk about a lot, and that's why people hate corporations, is because you kind of get fooled into purchasing their product because it's never quite as advertised, but they use just vague enough, you know, marketing and advertising to get you to buy it, and it ends up not being the same thing. So like, they'll use like a lot of catchphrases that are really general, that they could have almost any meaning type. So I mean, it does go to show what businesses will do, to what lengths they will go to fool you and to get you to purchase their product. But again, I am not overly concerned. But
Well,
that's
I
me.
mean, that's that's why this is a win. I mean, if companies do go too far, it's kind of nice every once in a while to see them get slapped back down and go, no, 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 you can't do that. It is kind of nice to just see the check and the balance actually work every once in a while because it
Sure.
doesn't happen very often. So, I mean, from that perspective, this is a good thing. Like my first reaction was, cool, okay, just because of that. It wasn't so much like, hey, I can go get 30 or $60 or whatever I can get out of this. I couldn't care less. It's, not really a big deal to me as far as the finances go. But the fact that Nvidia has been held accountable, that is a big deal, and that I think is good. And really, the only way to hurt a business is, hit them in the wallet. Otherwise, they kind of just don't care.
And I can agree. So, but that's that. There's really not a whole lot to talk about there. If you have a GTX 970, be looking out for that, and definitely find a way to get your $30 because hell, it's $30, and I haven't met somebody yet who would turn down $30. And our next topic is really kind of weird because Microsoft is is kind of pissing a lot of people off lately, especially with Windows 10, despite it working fantastically. The forced updates, people being forced to update using, data plans and things like that, didn't know they were going to do it. It's caused havoc. And now they are making Cortana mandatory with its latest update. You will not be able to disable it. There is no way to get rid of it. And this is also pissing people off, much to no one's surprise. And Chris, being a tech guy, this is obviously, I'm sure, of some consternation to you. I remember you had the Kinect, and you weren't really keen on the fact that the Kinect could listen to everything you were saying with your Xbox One. And I know you had a problem with that because you're big into privacy and whatnot. So maybe this
Well,
is something that strikes a
that's why my
chord.
Connect never left the box.
Right. So maybe this for you this strikes a chord, and this might be something you want to talk about.
Well, I mean, this is right on the heels of Tim Sweeney coming out, just completely blasting Microsoft for, supposedly they're going to be going after Steam. And it's just really odd timing, I think, because that broke, I think, just a few days ago. Maybe it was last week. My days tend to run together, but it was very recent. And then I see this, and I just face palmed. I'm like, guys, I mean, if you're going to do this kind of thing, which you know that they are, I mean, Microsoft learned from Apple. They learned that you force these features on people. They're not going to like it at first, but they're going to grow accustomed to it. See, with Apple, you always had them forced on you, and people just accepted it. And unfortunately, it seems like people are just getting into the mindset of, oh, this is just the way things are. And I'm seeing that in a lot of different areas, but this is now coming to Windows, which has never really been the case because for the most part, pre Windows 8, I guess you could say, I mean, you could customize Windows to your heart's content. And then Windows 8 started locking some things down. And then Windows 10 really started locking some things down. And of course, you have all the data monitoring that's going on. And the other story that just came out was France basically telling Microsoft that they have to stop monitoring people because they're violating their privacy. And it just seems like it's all going to start coming to a head here. But I just think that this is just a weird time where they're going to be forcing Cortana, which is, their little AI search bot or whatever, but it basically monitors your whole system and reports back to Microsoft. So it's another monitoring piece, essentially, because whenever Cortana popped up on Windows 10 for me, I said, shut up and go away. And it did, and I was okay with that. If I wanted to use it, I had the option, and that was fine for me. But it's probably still running in the background. But I'm not one of those people that think, or no, I do think that the NSA is listening to everything that I say. But unfortunately, unless I want to live in the woods, in Siberia somewhere or something, unfortunately, I don't think there's any way around that anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I can agree. It's kind of the way things are going. I don't know that there's really anything anybody's going to be able to do to stop it unless our Congress gets off its ass and actually does something about the fact that businesses today are getting more brazen about violating the privacy of the people they sell the products to. So I kind of like envy France in that way that their government is actually doing something about it because I think it is crap. I mean, it doesn't bother me. I have really nothing to hide. I don't have, the anarchist cookbook on my computer, and I'm not a terrorist. I am not interested in making bombs, and I really don't care if Microsoft knows that I'm
Joe, this is
into.
YouTube. It's kind of like planes, man. You can't say bomb.
Well, I apologize then for anybody listening, but the reality is I don't really care because, again, it doesn't matter in the long run. I will say this, though. I don't care if Microsoft knows certain things about me. For instance, Asian ass porn may be one of my top searches. I don't care that Microsoft knows this. Overall, it's really not a big deal. I think people freak out about privacy as if it's something that is really important and if it matters. But the reality is, nobody actually cares what you do in your private life. They only care if it's something they might be able to sell you. And as far as the government's concerned, I'm sure it's something, of course, if you're plotting to destroy them. So overall, I'm really not doing either of those things. I'm not buying products from them, and I'm not destroying anything. So for me, it's not a big deal. I do feel, however, it is unacceptable that it's not an option to turn off. It's one thing to give us it and say, we might do it, or even to put it in there as something that you quietly slip in so nobody really knows about unless you pay attention. But to be able to make it so it cannot be turned off is kind of a problem for me, just as a matter of fact. Like, it's my system. I should be able to do what I want to do with it. To me, it's unacceptable that I cannot turn it off. And that would be the only thing
Well,
that really bothers me about it.
see, I completely disagree with the whole, oh, it doesn't matter what I do, it's not a big deal. Well, for you, it might not be such a big issue, but what if your brother is running for Congress? Or what if, or not even something that big? What if it's something like a local, election or something? Try to become, a public figure. What if he becomes a big pop star? And you're big into Asian ass porn, like you said. This can actually blow up in your brother's face because of something that you did if this information gets out there. That's the danger of this, is that people that you don't even know and that you don't really have control over, or that you rarely associate with, in some cases, it can be then directly linked to you because of either blood or work or something. There's just so many different things, because information, very little bits of information, can be used and twisted and misconstrued. I mean, look at the damn news. They get like one line of information from, like a police officer about what's going on. Before you know it, like five people have been shot, and, half of them are black and half of them are white. So it has to be a race thing. And meanwhile, what happened? Somebody probably just ripped a fart in a movie theater. So this is what happens when people have information and they can just do whatever the hell they want with it. So I feel that that's very dangerous. So personally, I don't like people having access to anybody else's information. If you want to know who they are, spend years to get to know them, and and that should be the only way you should know them. That's the way I think about it.
And I'm not saying you're wrong. So, that's perfectly okay with me if that's how you feel and if that's the way it went. Sure. I guess I don't know. I have nothing that I feel like could affect me. And plus, the way I understand it is a lot of these companies don't really gather your personal information in the sense of like your name and stuff and attach it to that. They listen for keywords and they unique identifiers, but it's not like they specifically know Joseph blah 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 at blah 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 lane or whatever, um, specifically into this and does this, so we should tell them this. I don't think it works quite that way, although it might. I mean, I guess I don't know, but that's from everything I've heard. That's really not the way it works. But in the
Well,
long run,
that's how the marketing works. That's how Google knows what ads to put up for you. Yeah, I mean, for the most part, the businesses don't care. I mean, if you like Asian ass porn, they're gonna just throw Asian ass porn all over the place. That that's what they do with it, because they're trying to make money off of you. But if
they
people that don't want to make money off of you, people want to control, manipulate, maybe not you, but somebody they can use that information in other ways.
and Chris, it's one of those things. I think we can agree to disagree, or not really, because I don't really care either way. But it's one of those things that obviously can be very much an issue for a lot of the population out there, especially people who use computers and the type of people that are into their computers and stuff. That's something that lack of control and that idea that their personal information might be out there, however small or insignificant, for whatever reason, it's unsettling, and I can understand that to a degree. So I think overall I get it. But you should be aware, anybody listening, with the new update, if you have Windows 10, which I'm pretty sure you do, because I'm pretty sure Microsoft forced it down your throat, you will not be able to turn off Cortana. So just be aware of that. So kind of a PSA mixed in. And by the way, the Asian ass porn thing, if you're a fan of Daniel Tosh and his earlier work, maybe you got that, maybe you didn't. But either way, I alluded to a comedy bit. So that's it, guys. We want to thank you for taking the time to listen to us. Really appreciate it. If you like what we're doing, please like the video and subscribe. If you don't like it, you can tell us in the comments below. But you could also subscribe. Not going to say you can't. Overall, though, we just want to say thanks to everybody, and we want you to have a good night.
Yeah, guys, this is just kind of a discussion video, so please join us in the discussion below, and we'll see you guys next time.